Hi, I'm Tamika Chambers, and I am leader and founder of God on the Rise Ministry, which is a prophetic heart ministry leading believers back to the heart of God in deeper relationship and intimacy with His heart. And today, let's talk about sin. What is sin, first of all? Sin is anything, any actions, any thought, anything that separates you from God. The Hebrew definition of sin actually means to miss the mark. So sin is anything that you do that causes you to miss the mark of being made in the image of God. Genesis chapter 1 tells us that we were made in the image of God. That means we were made to show the characteristics of God. We were made to show the power of God and the glory of God in the earth. And anything that we do that keeps us from doing that is sin. Sin separates us from God. It does this spiritually. It causes the spiritual connection that we have with God to be broken. Genesis chapter 4 verse 7 says, "If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it." This verse lets us know that sin is an actual being that crouches at your door, waiting for you to accept it, waiting for you to fall into it, waiting for you to let your guard down so that you can be overtaken and enticed to do something wrong. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8 says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour." So when we sin, we either sin against God or we sin against man. How can we sin against God? Doing that which is evil in the sight of the Lord, which you can read about in 2 Kings chapter 21 verse 16. Building high places or idolatry, which you can also read about in 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verse 16. Anything man-made that you choose to worship as any sort of an idol is talked about in the Bible in 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verse 19. Any display of sin, anything that you do that glorify sin or to uphold it or to make it look better than it is, to make it look like something to be proud of rather than something to call out and to repent from and turn away from. And you can read about this in Isaiah chapter 3 verse 9. Taking counsel or advice from any other source other than God. So getting advice or getting counsel from Ouija boards, from crystals, from anything other than God is considered a sin in the eyes of God. Having covering from anything other than God's Spirit is also considered a sin. You can read about this in Isaiah chapter 30 verse 12. Not calling out sin and making people aware of it. You can read about this in Isaiah chapter 58 verse 1. Anything that you do that causes you to lose your peace or causes you to lose your rest, both of which are found in God, is considered a sin in the eyes of God. You can read about this in Isaiah chapter 30 verses 13 through 15. Then there are sins against man. Sins against man can provoke the wrath of others or provoke the anger of others, which you can read about in Genesis chapter 31 verse 36. Sins against man will demand confession and demand explanation. 1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 1 is an example of that. Sin also starts in the heart. So Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9 tells us that the heart is deceitful and wicked. No one can know how deep it really goes. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 tells us, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life." What are the issues of life? Anything that pertains to your life. It tells us to keep your hearts with all diligence. What is diligence? One of the Hebrew definitions for the word diligence. It's a place of confinement. Your heart safe. Keep it in a safe place. Keep it safe from anything that will come in to negatively affect your heart. To keep your heart. The Hebrew word for keep means to guard or to watch over your heart. And then the Hebrew word for heart actually means your inner man, the seat of your emotions or your passions or your desires. James chapter 1 verse 14 says, "But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed." That means sin not only crouches at your door, waiting for you to let your guard down, but it is also waiting to draw you away, to lure you into it. Because the fact of the matter is, people blame the devil for a lot of things, but the devil doesn't make us do anything. It's our choice to sin. We're led away into sin when we're tempted with our own fleshly desires. The enemy will use what you want against you. It's our jobs to guard our hearts against the things that would separate us from God.